"Abroad?" cried Joe. "Oh, tell me about it. I love dearly to hear people describe their travels." Laurie didn't seem to know where to begin, but Joe's eager question soon set him going, and he told her how he had been at school in Vevey, where the boys never wore hats and had a fleet of boats on the lake, and for holiday fun went walking trips around Switzerland with their teachers. "Don't I wish I'd been there," cried Joe. "Did you go to Paris? We spent last winter there. Can you speak French? We were not allowed to speak anything else at Vevey. Do say some. I can read it, but can't pronounce." "Quel nom est cette jeune demoiselle en les pantalons jaunes?" said Laurie quite good-naturedly. "How nicely you do it. Let me see. You said, 'Who is the young lady in the pretty slippers?' didn't you?" "Oui, mademoiselle." "It's my sister Margaret, and you knew it was. Do you think she is pretty?" "Yes, she makes me think of the German girls. She looks so fresh and quiet and dances like a lady." Joe quite glowed with pleasure at this boyish praise of her sister, and stored it up to repeat to Meg. Both peeped and criticised and chatted till they felt like old acquaintances. Laurie's bashfulness soon wore off, for Joe's gentlemanly demeanour amused and set him at his ease, and Joe was her merry self again, because her dress was forgotten and nobody lifted their eyebrows at her. She liked the Lawrence boy better than ever, and took several good looks at him, so that she might describe him to the girls, for they had no brothers, very few male cousins, and boys were almost unknown creatures to them. Curly black hair, brown skin, big black eyes, handsome nose, fine teeth, small hands and feet, taller than I am, very polite for a boy, and altogether jolly. Wonder how old he is. It was on the tip of Joe's tongue to ask, but she checked herself in time, and with unusual tact tried to find out in a roundabout way. "I suppose you're going to college soon. I see you pegging away at your books." "No, I mean studying hard," and Joe blushed at the dreadful pegging which had escaped her. Laurie smiled but didn't seem shocked, and answered with a shrug, "Not for a year or two. I won't go before 17 anyway." "Aren't you but 15?" asked Joe, looking at the tall lad, whom she had imagined 17 already. 16 next month." "How I wish I was going to college. You don't look as if you liked it." "I hate it. Nothing but grinding or skylarking, and I don't like the way fellows do either in this country." "What do you like?" "To live in Italy and to enjoy myself in my own way." Joe very much wanted to ask what his own way was, but his black brows looked rather threateningly as he knit them, so she changed the subject by saying, as her foot kept time, "That's a splendid polka. Why don't you go and try it?" "If you will come too," he answered with a gallant little boy. "I can't, for I told Meg I wouldn't, because—" There Joe stopped and looked undecided whether to tell or to laugh. "Because what?" asked Laurie curiously. "You won't tell?" "Never." "Well, I have a bad trick of standing before the fire, and so I burn my frocks, and I scorched this one, and though it's nicely mended it shows, and Meg wants me to keep still so no one would see it. You may laugh if you want. It is funny, I know." But Laurie didn't laugh. He only looked down a minute, and the expression on his face puzzled Joe, when he said very gently, "Never mind that. I'll tell you how we could manage. There's a long hall out there, and we can dance grandly, and no one will see us. Please come." Joe thanked him and gladly went, wishing she had 2 neat gloves when she saw the nice pearl-coloured ones her partner wore. The hall was empty, and they had a great polka, for Laurie danced well and taught her the German step, which delighted Joe, being full of swing and spring. When the music stopped, they sat down on the stairs to get their breath, and Laurie was in the middle of an account of a students' festival at Heidelberg when Meg appeared in search of her sister. She beckoned, and Joe reluctantly followed her into a side room, where she found her on a sofa, holding her foot and looking pale. "I've sprained my ankle. That stupid high heel turned and gave me a sad wrench. It aches so I can hardly stand. And I don't know how I'm ever going to get home," she said, rocking to and fro in pain. I knew you'd hurt your feet with those silly shoes. I'm sorry, but I don't see what you can do except get a carriage or stay here all night, answered Jo, softly rubbing the poor ankle as she spoke. I can't have a carriage without it costing ever so much. I dare say I can't get one at all, for most people come in on their own, and it's a long way to the stable and no one to send. I'll go. No, indeed. It's past 9 and dark as Egypt. I can't stop here, for the house is full. Sally has some girls staying with her. I'll rest till Hannah comes and then do the best I can. I'll ask Laurie. He will go, said Jo, looking relieved as the idea occurred to her. Mercy, no. Don't ask or tell anyone. Get me my rubbers and put these slippers with our things. I can't dance any more, but as soon as supper is over, watch for Hannah and tell me the minute she comes. They are going out to supper now. I'll stay with you, I'd prefer. No, dear, run along and bring me some coffee. I'm so tired I can't stir. So Meg reclined with rubbers well hidden, and Jo went blundering away to the dining room, which she found after going into a china closet and opening the door of a room where old Mr. Gardner was taking a little private refreshment. Making a dart at the table, so she secured the coffee, which she immediately spilt, therefore making the front of her dress as bad as her back. Oh dear, what a blunderbuss I am, exclaimed Jo, finishing Meg's glove by rubbing her gown with it. Can I help you? Said a friendly voice, and then there was Laurie, with a full cup in one hand and a plate of ice in the other. I was trying to get something for Meg, who is very tired, and someone shook me, and here I am in a nice state, answered Jo, glancing dismally from the stained skirt to the coffee-coloured cup. Too bad. I was looking for someone to give this to. May I take it to your sister? Oh, thank you. I'll show you where she is. I don't offer to take it myself, for I should only get into another scrape if I did. Jo led the way, and, as if used to waiting on ladies, Laurie drew up a little table, brought a second instalment of coffee and ice for Jo, and was so obliging that even particular Meg pronounced him as a nice boy. They had a merry time over the bonbons and mottos, and were in the midst of a quiet game of buzz when 2 or 3 other young people who had strayed in when Hannah appeared. Meg forgot her foot and rose so quickly that she was forced to catch hold of Jo with an exclamation of pain. Hush, don't say anything, she whispered, adding aloud, It's nothing, I turned my foot a little, that's all, and limped upstairs to put her things on. Hannah scolded, Meg cried, and Jo was at her wit's end till she decided to take things into her own hands. Slipping out, she ran down, and finding the servant, asked if he could find her a carriage. It happened to be a hired waiter who knew nothing about the neighbourhood, and Jo was looking around for help when Laurie, who had heard what she said, came up and offered his grandfather's carriage, which had just come for him, he said. It's so early, you can't mean to go yet, began Jo, looking relieved, but hesitating to accept the offer. I always go early, I do truly. Please let me take you home. It's on my way, you know, and it rains, they say. That settled it, and telling him of Meg's mishap, Jo gratefully accepted and rushed up to bring down the rest of the party. Hannah hated rain as much as a cat does, so she made no trouble, and they rolled away in a luxurious closed carriage, feeling very festive and elegant. Laurie went on the box so Meg could keep her foot up, and the girls talked over their party in freedom. I had a capital time. Did you? Asked Jo, rumpling up her hair and making herself comfortable. Yes, till I hurt myself. Sally's friend Annie Moffat took a fancy to me and asked me to come and spend a week with her. When Sally does, she is going in the spring when the opera comes, and it will be perfectly splendid if only Mother lets me go, answered Meg, cheering up at the thought. I saw you dancing with the red-headed man I ran away from. Was he nice? Oh, very. His hair is auburn, not red, and he was very polite, and I had a delicious rejoice with him. He looked like a grasshopper in a fit. When he did the new step, Laurie and I couldn't help laughing. Did you hear us? No, but it was very rude. What were you about all that time hidden away there? Jo told her adventures, and by the time she had finished they were at home. With many thanks they said good night and crept in, hoping to disturb no one. But the instant their door creaked, 2 little nightcaps bobbed up and 2 sleepy but eager voices cried out, "Tell about the party, tell about the party." With what Meg called a great want of manners, Joe had saved some bonbons for the little girls, and they soon subsided after hearing the most thrilling events of the evening. I declare, it really seems like being a fine young lady to come home from the party in a carriage and sit in my dressing gown with a maid to wait on me, said Meg, as Jo bound up her foot with arnica and brushed her hair. I don't believe fine young ladies enjoy themselves a bit more than we do, in spite of our burnt hair, old gowns, 1 glove apiece and tight slippers that sprain our ankles when we are really silly enough to wear them. And I think Jo was quite right.